The lower-dimensional ancestors of the primordial ancient dragon clan were entirely annihilated during an unknown Great War, leaving behind legacy caves created by fallen powerhouses. For some reason, Xiaoyan suddenly connected these two matters together. He was certain that he had never racked his brain over a single issue to this extent before. A low murmur escaped from his lips. What kind of existence could wipe out those who broke through the shackles of the lower dimensions? An existence that annihilated the shackles breakers of the lower dimensions. Xiaoyan continued to murmur. For several minutes, he remained silent, his thoughts revolving around the sentence he had just spoken. The annihilators of the lower dimension shackles breakers? Xiaoyan couldn't shake the sense of familiarity and discomfort this phrase brought. It felt as though it contained a momentous revelation. What kind of entity could possess such world-defying power to obliterate countless shackles breakers and utterly destroy their sex? The immense hatred implied in such acts. If not hatred, then what could it be? Boom. At this thought, Xiaoyan's pupils suddenly constricted, and a stormy aura exploded from within him, causing the entire abyss to tremble. A terrifying term surged into Xiaoyan's mind. The extraterritorial evil clan. Not good. As this realization struck, Xiaoyan's expression changed drastically. His gaze shifted sharply to the distorted space ahead. With a flick of his finger, a beam of spiritual energy pierced through the twisted void, forcibly tearing open a spatial passage. Whoosh! Without hesitation, Xiaoyan darted into the spatial passage. Within the legacy space, at the center of a massive array, a giant stone monument still stood tall. Opposite it, two figures sat facing each other. One was the ancient ancestor of the heavenly serpent in a brown robe, and the other was Cai Lin. Through her conversation with the ancient ancestor, Cai Lin had learned some astonishing facts. Tens of thousands of years ago, after the first Do-Di powerhouse broke through the dimensional shackles of the continent of Do-Chi and ascended to the Great Thousand Worlds, more Do-Di powerhouses followed. Among them was this very ancestor of the heavenly serpent. Together, they established a formidable sect on the relic continent, composed of dozens of Do-Di powerhouses who rivaled the supreme stage. On the relic continent, their sect was a dominant force. However, not long after, their sect clashed with another powerful faction on the relic continent. The conflict escalated into war, and in the final battle, their adversaries brought in reinforcements from other regions, decisively overpowering the Do-Di powerhouses. In the ultimate conflict, the Do-Di sect was defeated. They attempted to flee back to the continent of Do-Chi, but the dimensional passage was destroyed by their enemies. Surrounded by countless foes, nearly all the Do-Di powerhouses perished. Some managed to break through the siege and escape, including the heavenly serpent ancestor before Cai Lin. Unfortunately, during the escape, they encountered a super powerhouse who intercepted them. Ultimately, the ancestor died in anguish in this very place. Cai Lin was stunned. She had not expected the heavenly serpent ancestor before her to already be dead, yet his physical body showed no signs of decay. Sigh. The ancient figure let out a long sigh. My physical body hasn't decomposed over the millennia due to the dryness of this peculiar space. I've been waiting for a successor, and after 10,000 years, my wish has finally been fulfilled. Those bastards! Cai Lin cursed angrily. She hadn't expected the Do-Chi continent's Do-Di source energy to have been sealed off by their adversaries. I am willing to inherit the heavenly serpent bloodline and ensure its continuity, Cai Lin solemnly vowed to the ancient ancestor. Heh, I've waited 10,000 years. There's no rush for the inheritance. However, since you are my successor, I have one request, the heavenly serpent ancestor said. What is your request? If it's within my abilities, I will certainly fulfill it, Cai Lin promised. As you know, once the inheritance is complete, I will completely vanish from this world. Before that, as someone from the continent of Do-Chi, I wish to return there one last time. Cai Lin nodded at these words, acknowledging that what the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor had said was true. This was his final wish before vanishing from the world. With her current strength, Cai Lin could, if she gave it her all, open a passage from the Great Thousand Worlds to the continent of Do-Chi. However, it might take her some time to accomplish. Senior, with my current abilities, opening that dimensional passage would be a bit difficult, Cai Lin said. Seeing the slight frown on the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor's face, she quickly added, however, my husband, Xiao Yin, should be waiting for me outside right now. With his strength, opening the passage should be quite easy. Oh, there are others who came with you to the Great Thousand Worlds? The ancient heavenly serpent ancestor asked with a note of curiosity. Yes, a total of 5 of us broke through the dimensional barrier this time, Cai Lin replied. In that case, invite him into this inheritance space. I'd like to meet the other individuals who overcame the shackles of the continent of Do-Chi. To be your husband, he must be an extraordinary person, the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor said with a smile. Haha, you're flattering me so much that I'm feeling a bit embarrassed. Just as the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor finished speaking, a calm and faint laugh echoed through the heavens and earth. Upon hearing this voice, Cai Lin's heart leapt with joy. Behind her, the space twisted, and a figure clad in black robes suddenly appeared. It was none other than Xiao Yin. I planned to go out and bring you in, but it seems you found your way here yourself, Cai Lin said, stepping forward to meet him. She then explained to Xiao Yin about the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor and the powerful Do-Di experts from ancient times. So, this is Cai Lin's husband? The ancient heavenly serpent ancestor said with a smile, his gaze settling on Xiao Yin. I see. So, you want to take one last look at the continent of Do-Chi? Xiao Yin remarked calmly after hearing Cai Lin's explanation. To her surprise, he didn't appear shocked by this revelation. Instead, his expression remained serene, as though everything was within his expectations. It's simply the final wish of someone who will soon disappear from this world. The ancient heavenly serpent ancestor responded to Xiao Yan's words. But in the next moment, his eyes narrowed sharply. Xiao Yin suddenly grabbed Cai Lin by the arm and, with a swift motion, retreated thousands of meters from the massive stone stele. His sudden action left Cai Lin momentarily stunned, and before she could speak, Xiao Yan's cold voice echoed, sending a shiver through her heart. Haha, I wonder if this esteemed senior truly wishes to take one last look at the continent of Do-Chi. Xiao Yan's frosty voice rang out, resounding across the heavens. The ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, seated atop the massive stone stele, also narrowed his eyes slightly. Or, if you are preparing to lead an army of the extraterritorial evil clan to invade the continent of Do-Chi. You're not the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, are you? The moment Xiao Yan's calm words spread, the ancient figure seated on the stele froze, his expression changing. Even Cai Lin, who had been pulled aside, looked at Xiao Yin in stunned silence. What did Xiao Yin mean by this? Haha, my young friend, I don't understand your words, the ancient figure replied, his gaze sharpening before he chuckled lightly. Xiao Yin, what's going on? Cai Lin asked, her voice tinged with confusion. Xiao Yin had just accused the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor of being associated with the extraterritorial evil clan, an enemy at odds with both the lower dimensions and the Great Thousand Worlds. Do you truly believe he is the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor? Xiao Yin asked her directly. There's no mistake. That feeling of the bloodline's origin, how could it be faked? Cai Lin replied firmly. The aura of the bloodline's source emanating from the ancient figure was too authentic to be counterfeit. Indeed, I am the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, the figure responded with another smile. I was hunted down and perished in this place. For tens of thousands of years, I've waited, and the heavens did not forsake me, allowing me to meet my descendants at last. Ah, is that so? Xiao Yin replied indifferently. His gaze swept across the surroundings, meticulously scanning the vast, peculiar formation spanning tens of thousands of meters. Cai Lin was baffled by Xiao Yan's behavior. Next, Xiao Yan's actions caused the expression of the ancient figure to change abruptly. Xiao Yan slowly raised his hand, and on each of his 5 fingers, a dazzling flame emerged. These 5 heavenly flames intertwined, rapidly forming a palm-sized, exquisite, 5-colored fire lotus. At the same time, a terrifying fluctuation, enough to make a 6th-grade supreme shudder, began to spread. Go! As the 5-colored fire lotus formed, Xiao Yin flicked his fingers. Under the horrified gaze of the ancient figure, the 5-colored fire lotus shot forth like a streak of light, heading straight for the massive stone monument. Damn it! The sudden change caused the ancient figure's expression to darken considerably. His hands moved swiftly, forming seals in a frantic attempt to counter. Boom! An overwhelming aura, rivaling that of a 7th-grade supreme, erupted like a storm from the ancient figure's body, causing the surrounding spatial world to dim drastically. What is this? Behind Xiao Yin, Cai Lin looked on in disbelief at the scene before her. From the massive stone monument ahead, the energy surging behind the ancient figure had formed a deep, dark tide. This sinister wave exuded an evil force incompatible with the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, capable of corroding even souls and spirits. This was clearly not the power of the ancient heavenly serpent. Heh, so you've finally revealed your true colors, haven't you? Xiao Yin sneered coldly upon seeing the ominous energy behind the ancient figure. Crash! The dark, malevolent energy surged violently from behind the ancient figure and rushed toward the incoming 5-colored fire lotus. Boom! The black tide collided with the 5-colored fire lotus, unleashing a terrifying shockwave. The space distorted violently as the 5-colored fire lotus was suppressed. However, faint cracks began to spread across the massive stone monument. The sight of these cracks caused the ancient figure's expression to change once again. Heh! It seems there's something sealed beneath this stone monument, Xiao Yin remarked, catching the shift in the ancient figure's expression. Let me guess. If I'm not mistaken, the one truly sealed beneath this is the ancestor of the ancient heavenly serpent, isn't it? Boom. Xiao Yan's words sent a jolt through the ancient figure, whose eyes surged with murderous intent. You know too much. The ancient figure's cold voice carried an undeniable chill. Xiao Yan's every word struck at the heart of his secrets. That's impossible. The feeling of the ancestral bloodline can't be wrong, Cai Lin insisted, still struggling to accept the truth. Of course, the bloodline isn't wrong, because this body does belong to the ancestor of the ancient heavenly serpent, Xiao Yin explained. What? Cai Lin gasped in shock. If Xiao Yin was right, then the body of the ancient heavenly serpent's ancestor had been taken over by another will. And I also know that beneath this monument, not only is the ancestor of the ancient heavenly serpent sealed, but something else is as well. Xiao Yin stared at the ancient figure, continuing, that something is the source of your power. Heh, it's amusing that you've learned so much. The ancient figure's gaze grew frostier. In the next moment, an overwhelming surge of malevolent energy spread from his body, enveloping the space for 10,000 feet around him. The oppressive force was even more terrifying than that of an ordinary 7th-grade supreme. His voice, filled with murderous intent, echoed ominously. Since you've come here, stay and help me open the dimensional passage before you die. Although 90% of my power was sealed by that old bastard, even with the remaining 10%, killing you is effortless. At this moment, Cai Lin finally understood why this figure hadn't rushed to pass down his legacy when he saw his descendant. Instead, he had persistently shifted the focus of their discussions toward the continent of Do Qi. This person was not the ancestor of the ancient heavenly serpent. Worse, these bastards were scheming to invade the continent of Do Qi. And where does your confidence come from? Hearing the ancient figure's words, Xiao Yin chuckled. A terrifying aura, far exceeding the supreme stage, enveloped the entire spatial world. The realm trembled violently, as if it could no longer withstand this overwhelming power. And the terrifying aura emanating from Xiao Yin, as if it could crush the heavens and earth, sent a shudder through the ancient figure's heart. His face showed unmistakable horror. Cai Lin's strength, barely reaching the level of a 3rd-grade supreme, had led the ancient figure to assume that Xiao Yin, having broken through the same shackles, would not be much stronger. Yet, he could never have imagined that Xiao Yan's power had already far surpassed the supreme stage. An Earth Supreme. Speaking of which, I've been curious about something since earlier, Xiaoyan said, his body surrounded by an oppressive aura. He looked at the ancient figure cloaked in overwhelming demonic energy and continued, "Why is it that you refuse to rise from that seat?" Boom. As Xiaoyan's words fell, a kaleidoscope of flames erupted from within him, transforming the entire spatial realm into a world of fire. The extreme heat warped the very fabric of space. Rumble. Above the boundless sea of flames, the surging spiritual energy formed a towering mountain tens of thousands of feet tall. The pressure of the heavens descended from this fiery mountain of spiritual energy. Heavenly phenomenon. Flame peak suppression. As the spiritual energy mountain appeared, Xiaoyan's cold voice echoed through the fiery realm. "Don't just sit there. Get up and take a few steps." Rumble. With Xiaoyan's words reverberating through the space, the immense mountain of spiritual energy hovering in the sky descended with an earth-shattering force toward the massive stone steel below. The destructive might threatened to shatter the spatial world entirely. "You scoundrel!" The ancient figure cursed angrily as Xiaoyan launched his attack again. He hastily mobilized all his demonic energy, trying to resist the overwhelming phenomenon. In the skies, the surging demonic energy coalesced into an enormous devouring maw, exuding a force that seemed capable of swallowing the heavens and earth. At the same time, viscous, unnerving streams of demonic liquid dripped from the maw, making onlookers' scalps tingle. Above, the spiritual energy mountain pressed downward, while the devouring maw, driven by the ancient figure's full power, surged upward to engulf the descending mountain. Behind Xiaoyan, Cai Lin watched the scene with astonishment. For a devouring maw to swallow an Earth Supreme's heavenly phenomenon spoke to its extraordinary nature. Yet, the chasm between a 7th-grade Supreme and an Earth Supreme was simply insurmountable. As soon as the devouring maw swallowed the spiritual energy mountain, a searing wave of heat erupted from within it, causing the ancient figure's expression to change drastically. Boom! The blistering flame energy inside the maw tore it apart, and the devouring maw finally succumbed to the overwhelming force, exploding into fragments. The scattered demonic energy evaporated under the sea of flames. The spiritual energy mountain re-emerged, unscathed, within the heavens. Under the ancient figure's horrified gaze, it continued its descent with unstoppable force. Before an Earth Supreme, a 7th-grade Supreme was no more than an ant. Rumble. The spiritual energy mountain crushed through the void and landed heavily on the massive stone steel. Faced with the mountain's destructive might, the ancient figure dared not make contact with it. Under Xiaoyan's intrigued gaze, the ancient figure finally moved, abandoning the steel and transforming into a streak of light as he fled toward the edge of the formation. "I only told you to take a few steps, not to run that far." Xiaoyan's indifferent voice rang out as the ancient figure had barely escaped several thousand feet. Ripples in the surrounding space formed a 100-foot-wide spatial prison that enclosed him. Damn it! Trapped within the spatial prison, the ancient figure cursed and unleashed his demonic energy to its limits, striking the prison repeatedly. However, the spatial prison remained completely unmoved. Its solidity was such that even a 9th-grade Supreme would struggle to break free. Boom! While the ancient figure was confined by Xiaoyan, the massive spiritual energy mountain struck the stone steel. The annihilating force caused the eerie runes on the steel to emit dazzling black light before rapidly dissipating. Seeing the stone tablet shatter, Xiaoyan waved his sleeve toward the spiritual energy mountain, causing it to vanish instantly. After all, the heaven and earth phenomenon unleashed by an Earth Supreme expert was overwhelmingly powerful. Beneath the stone tablet lay the suppressed ancestor of the ancient heavenly serpent. Xiaoyan could not risk destroying it completely, as it might carry secrets related to the ancient Dodi. Buzz. The shattered stone tablet scattered in all directions. As it broke apart, an even more terrifying wave of demonic energy surged out, sweeping toward the ancient figure thousands of feet away. Someone once claimed that even a tenth of their strength was enough to annihilate us. Now, what about their full strength? Xiaoyan sneered as he watched the surging demonic energy rush toward the ancient figure. The overwhelming demonic energy flooded into the ancient figure, causing the evil aura emanating from him to swell to a level that even ninth-grade Supremes would find unsettling. Yet, the figure understood that his so-called peak strength, at best comparable to someone with half a foot in the Earth Supreme realm, was still no match for Xiaoyan, a true Earth Supreme expert. His only hope was to break free from Xiaoyan's spatial prison and escape this dimensional space. If he could return to the extraterritorial realm and summon an earthly emperor-level demon emperor, defeating Xiaoyan would be effortless. However, for now, a more pressing matter seemed to be emerging. Rumble. The shattered stone tablet pieces scattered across the ground as Xiaoyan and Cai Lin gazed down at the dusty terrain from midair. Moments later, a 1,000-foot-tall, 9-colored pillar of light erupted from the dust, piercing the heavens and earth. Within the 9-colored light, an ethereal shadow identical to the ancient figure trapped in the prison emerged. It seemed as if it had been deprived of light for millennia. The shadow took a deep breath, its gaze sweeping across the dimensional space before locking onto Xiaoyan and Cai Lin. Then, a voice filled with ancient authority resounded across the heavens. This bloodline. It seems you are a descendant of Emperor Xiao. 10,000 years ago, I was defeated by Emperor Xiao. Now, 10,000 years later, I am freed by his descendant. Excellent. Hearing the resonant and majestic voice, a faint smile crept onto Xiaoyan's lips as he confirmed that this was indeed the true ancestor of the ancient, heavenly serpent. Ah, a descendant of Emperor Xiao. The ancient, weathered voice echoed through the space, and both Xiaoyan and Cai Lin realized that this soul and spirit likely belonged to the true ancient, heavenly serpent ancestor. My apologies, Cai Lin. I mistakenly identified the wrong ancestor earlier. Realizing her error, Cai Lin knelt down. That being merely exploited the power of your bloodline. You bear no fault, the shadow said with a wave of its sleeve, a soothing power lifting Cai Lin to her feet. For the Heavenly Serpent clan to have a descendant like you is a blessing. Senior Heavenly Serpent, congratulations on your release, Xiaoyan said, kneeling on one knee in midair. Though the shadow's full strength, even at its peak, could not match his own, Xiaoyan understood the significance of the Emperor Xiao, the shadow mentioned, likely the ancestor of the Xiao clan from ancient times. The ancient Heavenly Serpent ancestor was a contemporary of this illustrious figure. What earned Xiaoyan's admiration was the ancestor's magnanimity. From his words, Xiaoyan learned that he had once fought Emperor Xiao in ancient times and, despite his defeat, spoke openly about it, a testament to his great character. Ha, just as humble as that man. Without you, I would still be sealed. The shadow chuckled faintly, then furrowed its brows and addressed Xiaoyan again. There is something I wish to know. Senior, please feel free to ask, Xiaoyan replied without hesitation. Has the continent of Doqi ever been invaded by the extraterritorial evil clan? The shadow inquired. Hearing this, Xiaoyan fell silent in contemplation. Instead of answering immediately, he asked, Senior Heavenly Serpent, during my battle with the Hun clan, I once heard of a powerful ancient race, the Swallowing Spirit clan. Could they be connected? They are not an extraterritorial evil clan, but rather one of the more remarkable clans among the Doqi 100 tribes, the shadow clarified, seeming to read Xiaoyan's thoughts. Heh, that's good. At least our sacrifice wasn't in vain. The phantom let out a faint smile, and soon, a radiant glow emerged in its gaze as it looked at Xiaoyan. An Earth Supreme, huh? Back in the day, Emperor Xiao, who defeated me, was also an Earth Supreme with strength comparable to a 10-star Do D. Among the Doqi 100 clans, only 4 individuals reached such a level, the Phantom said calmly. Xiaoyan was stunned upon hearing this. He hadn't expected that in ancient times, there were 4 super powerhouses who surpassed the Do D realm, with the Xiao clan's ancestor being one of them. I know you have many questions for me, but before that, since you have reached the Earth Supreme level, you must first complete what I could not, the Phantom said. Slowly raising its hand, it pointed to 1,000 zhang distance behind Xiaoyan, where a fiendish demon was trapped in a spatial prison. A chilling voice echoed. Exterminate the demon. Understood. Xiao Yin unhesitatingly accepted the task entrusted to him by the ancestor of the heavenly Serpent clan. Nodding towards Cai Lin beside him, his figure disappeared instantly. In the next moment, he appeared high in the sky, looking at the spatial prison ahead, within which demonic energy surged wildly. Crack, crack. Although the spatial prison Xiao Yin had created was incredibly sturdy, so much so that even an ordinary 9th grade Supreme could not easily break it, it had only been casually formed. Coupled with the demon's peak strength, which had surpassed ordinary 9th grade Supremes to reach a half-step Earth Supreme level, the demon's relentless attacks for several minutes caused the spatial prison to begin cracking. Yet Xiao Yin paid no attention to the near-shattering prison. Instead, his gaze swept across the eerie and massive formation surrounding them. 18 pillars, huh? Xiao Yin observed the 18 towering black columns, each nearly 10,000 zhang tall. From his perception, it seemed that something was also being suppressed beneath these pillars. Those are the 18 heavenly kings under the heavenly evil emperor. Among them, 6 possess power comparable to Supremes, while the other 12 have half-step Supreme strength. The voice of the ancestor of the heavenly Serpent clan rang in Xiao Yan's ears as he studied the pillars. 18 heavenly kings? Heh, it seems these extraterritorial evil clans have some level of organization. Xiao Yan chuckled faintly upon hearing this. With a wave of his sleeve, 18 heavenly flames shot out, each transforming into a fiery spiritual figure. Sea Heart Flame Spirit, Fallen Heart Flame Spirit, Golden Emperor's Sky-Burning Flame Spirit, Red Lotus Karma Flame Spirit, 9 Nether Golden Ancestor Flame Spirit, Pure Lotus Demon Flame Spirit. The 18 flame spirits, all originating from the continent of Do Qi, were gathered before Xiao Yin. The weakest among them had strength comparable to a 4th grade Supreme, while the strongest could rival a 7th grade Supreme. Watching the 18 flame spirits bowing before him, Xiao Yin smiled faintly. His gaze shifted to the front, where the evil emperor was exerting all his might, finally shattering the spatial prison. As the prison broke, boundless demonic energy surged out like a tidal wave, clashing and eroding against the sea of flames in the heavens. Facing the heavenly evil emperor emerging from the shattered prison, Xiao Yin let out a cold smile. Turning to the 18 flame spirits, he left them a single command before vanishing, charging toward the heavenly evil emperor. Destroy those suppressed beneath the pillars. Understood. The flame spirits responded in unison, their mission etched into their very existence. As Xiao Yin darted forward, the 18 flame spirits exchanged glances and then each rushed toward one of the massive black pillars. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying waves of flame energy erupted from the 18 flame spirits, transforming into colossal beams of heavenly fire thousands of zhang in size, which struck the massive black pillars directly. The overwhelming power of the flame beams, capable of annihilating 4th grade Supremes, instantly shattered the black pillars. In the next moment, torrential demonic energy surged from beneath the shattered columns, and 18 figures shrouded in dense demonic aura emerged. Heh, who dared to release this emperor? After 10,000 years, we demons shall once again sweep across the great 1,000 worlds. Jia. It's time for a massacre. Attack the great 1,000 worlds. Cleanse the lower dimensions in blood. The 18 demon figures stood in the void, excitement evident as they faced the long-lost heavens and earth. However, when waves of massive heavenly flames surged toward them, their expressions suddenly changed. Having just been released from their seals, they were naturally shocked by the sudden turn of events. Without hesitation, they summoned all their demonic energy, forming powerful attacks to resist the terrifying waves of flame that swept toward them. Boom, boom. The 18 evil beings furiously launched their assaults against the fiery waves. However, to their horror, their combined efforts failed to stop the onslaught. The terrifying fire waves crashed down upon them, unstoppable. The sheer destructive power was utterly overwhelming to them. Oi! Who dares kill us? The extraterritorial forces will never let you off. Ah! The 18 evil beings were swallowed by the fiery waves, their anguished screams echoing through the air. Rumble. The waves of fire raged through the strange formation, sweeping across the area with unstoppable force. In the sky above, 18 fire spirits hovered in the air, looking down contemptuously at the struggling evil beings below. The sea of flames raged for over 10 breaths before finally subsiding. The scorched earth that emerged revealed a horrifying scene. Of the 18 evil beings, 12 of the weaker evil kings, who had yet to reach the true supreme stage, were entirely annihilated by the fire waves, leaving not even ashes behind. Along with them, 3 evil emperors whose strength fell below the 4th grade supreme were also eradicated. The 18 evil beings, who had only just been released from the Black Pillars, were reduced to 3 survivors in less than a few dozen breaths by Xiao Yan's fire spirits. Among the 3 survivors, one was an evil emperor at the 7th grade supreme level who had sustained minimal injuries. The other 2, though still alive, were severely wounded. You insignificant ants! The 3 surviving evil emperors glared coldly at the 18 fire spirits in the sky. To their disbelief, the ones who had released them had done so only to kill them. Heh, only 3 left? I'll take the strongest one. One of the fire spirits, a youth formed from the pure lotus demon flame, laughed and shot toward the uninjured 7th grade supreme evil emperor. The pure lotus demon flame was also at the 7th grade supreme level. Hemph, foolish arrogance. Watching the pure lotus demon flame charge forward, the fire spirit of the desolate ruined flame, dressed in a faint black robe, sneered and crossed his arms, ready to enjoy the spectacle. These so-called extraterritorial evil clan members aren't much, remarked the fire spirit of the 3,000 burning flame, disdainfully observing the 3 remaining evil emperors. Are these the beings who supposedly overwhelmed the lower dimensions so easily? As the other fire spirits discussed the extraterritorial evil clan, the fire spirit of the green lotus core flame watched the pure lotus demon flame charge forward, his expression tightening. I have a bad feeling about this. Of all the fire spirits, the green lotus core flame had been with Xiao Yan the longest and had adopted some of his caution and meticulousness. Now, a sudden unease struck him. He suspected the 3 evil emperors weren't as simple as they appeared. The pure lotus demon flame might not be able to handle them. Humph, you dare try to kill me? You're not qualified. The 7th grade supreme evil emperor sneered coldly as he saw the pure lotus demon flame charging toward him. His gaze shifted to the 2 heavily injured evil emperors nearby, and a sinister grin spread across his face. Boom. Overwhelming demonic energy surged from the evil emperor, and 2 black specks appeared on his palm. These specks dripped with an ink-like liquid, a malevolent substance so corrosive it dissolved space itself. In the sky, the other fire spirits watched with alarm as the 7th grade supreme evil emperor unleashed the inky liquid. Before the 2 injured evil emperors could react, the liquid enveloped and devoured them. Devouring evil emperor. What are you doing, you bastard? Ah. The 2 wounded evil emperors desperately resisted their sudden attacker, but their struggles grew weaker until they fell silent. The youth in pink, transformed from the pure lotus demon flame, appeared opposite the devouring evil emperor. Stunned by the eerie scene before him, he was reminded of the time when Hun Tiandi performed a blood sacrifice of the Soul Clan's elites to confront Xiao Yan. Swish. 2 masses of inky black liquid, each half a meter in size, surged into the devouring evil emperor's body after devouring the other 2 evil emperors. The pure lotus demon flame's expression changed instantly. Boom. A terrifying aura erupted from within the devouring evil emperor, rapidly escalating in intensity. Mid-stage 7th grade supreme, peak 7th grade supreme, early 8th grade supreme, half-step 9th grade supreme. In mere moments, the devouring evil emperor's power skyrocketed to a level nearing the 9th grade supreme. Both the pure lotus demon flame and the 17 other flame spirits in the sky couldn't help but react with alarm. In a vast, desolate land stretching thousands of miles, a colossal and ominous formation towered. Dark demonic energy poured from it, emanating an overwhelming force that even shattered the surrounding space. This power originated from the devouring evil emperor, a ruler of the extraterritorial evil clan, whose strength now approached the 9th grade supreme. His body was nothing but a skeletal frame, ink black and stripped of muscle, the remnants absorbed into pure demonic energy. Impossible! The pink-clad youth, still the embodiment of the pure lotus demon flame, stared in horror. The devouring evil emperor's power had far surpassed the 7th grade supreme, reaching a near 9th grade level. Sensing the immense demonic energy, the pure lotus demon flame instinctively unleashed his full power. However, instead of launching an attack, he swiftly retreated. He knew there was no chance of victory against the devouring evil emperor in this state. Buzz. As he retreated, the devouring evil emperor slowly raised his skeletal head. Crimson light gleamed from the hollow sockets, and a chilling voice that made space tremble echoed, "Die?" In that instant, the devouring evil emperor vanished. Before the pure lotus demon flame could react, a rift in space tore open before him, from which a black skeletal arm emerged, reaching for him. Frozen in place by spatial control, he found himself unable to move. "Damn it!" he cursed through gritted teeth, helpless as the bone hand, wreathed in dark energy, approached. Swish, swish, swish. Suddenly, sharp bursts of energy whistled through the air. 17 streams of multicolored flames surged from behind the pure lotus demon flame, converging into a palm-sized, 17-colored lotus in front of him. The devastating power emanating from the lotus made even the devouring evil emperor falter. Destruction Fire Lotus. The devouring evil emperor let out a low murmur of surprise. Boom. The energy radiating from the Destruction Fire Lotus was so overwhelming that even the space frozen by the devouring evil emperor trembled and shattered. Seizing the opportunity, the pure lotus demon flame retreated swiftly. Meanwhile, the skeletal arm retracted into the space rift, though the devouring evil emperor realized that forcefully opposing the lotus would come at a cost. Swoosh! The pure lotus demon flame retreated thousands of meters. At the same time, the lotus petals unfurled one by one. Then came an earth-shattering explosion. High above the sky, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent and Cai Lin hovered mid-air. Both Cai Lin and the heavenly serpent ancestor were stunned by the destructive power of the 17-colored fire lotus from earlier. Such a force was comparable to the full-strength attack of a late-stage 8th grade supreme. It seemed that a super genius was truly about to rise from the continent of Do Chi this time. Elsewhere, 17 fiery figures stood suspended in the air, their gazes fixed on the retreating pure lotus demon flame. Among the 18 fire spirits present, the pure lotus demon flame undoubtedly held the highest rank. As for the even stronger void devouring flame, it currently resided within Xiaoyin. Even the mightiest pure lotus demon flame couldn't withstand the power of the devouring evil emperor. Earlier, the 17-colored fire lotus had been jointly unleashed by the other 17 fire spirits when they saw the pure lotus demon flame in peril. Heh, someone said they'd handle the strongest demon earlier. What now? Barely one exchange and you're back? The Golden Emperor's sky-burning flame sneered at the pure lotus demon flame. Here, the youngest was none other than the pure lotus demon flame. Although the other 17 fire spirits were not as powerful, they were all considered its elders. I didn't back down. I said I'd fight one, but now this guy has fused with the powers of 2 others, the pure lotus demon flame retorted. Even if it hadn't fused, I doubt you could have won, the red lotus karma flame teased. Enough bickering. Let's focus on completing the task Xiaoyin entrusted to us. The sea heart flame stepped forward, its voice steady. Hearing this, the other fire spirits refrained from further teasing and shifted their attention to the shattered space ahead. There, an ocean of sinister black demonic energy twisted into an inky liquid, an unsettling sight. From the fractured void, a jet-black skeleton slowly emerged. Its hollow gaze locked onto a distant region tens of thousands of miles away, where an indescribably terrifying energy ripple was spreading outward. It's the heavenly evil emperor. The devouring evil emperor quickly recognized the ominous aura from afar. Xiaoyin had forcibly dragged the heavenly evil emperor tens of thousands of miles away. The 6 evil emperors under his command, including the devouring evil emperor, were the strongest among his subordinates. However, the heavenly evil emperor now seemed to be suppressed by an even more fearsome presence. Whoosh! Sensing the suppressed aura of the heavenly evil emperor, the devouring evil emperor immediately moved, streaking toward the distant battlefield at terrifying speed. The sudden retreat caught the fire spirits hovering nearby off guard. Xiao Yin had tasked them with dealing with these demons to prevent interference in his fight against the heavenly evil emperor. The devouring evil emperor's figure shot across the heavens, but before it could reach its destination, a massive, pale black pillar of fire erupted from the ground below, soaring skyward. The sheer intensity of the fire's energy caused the devouring evil emperor to frown. A moment later, it raised a skeletal finger, and demonic energy coalesced into a 1,000-foot-long finger that collided with the giant fire pillar, shattering it instantly. However, the attack briefly delayed the devouring evil emperor's advance. What's wrong? Lost confidence in defeating us and decided to call for your master? A mocking voice rang out behind the devouring evil emperor. Space twisted, and the first to appear was the 8 Desolation's destructive flame spirit, clad in a pale black robe. Behind it came the pure lotus demon flame and the other fire spirits. Frustrated by the interference, the devouring evil emperor slowly turned its skeletal form, facing the fire spirits. Its 2 bony arms rose, releasing waves of demonic energy that blanketed a 1,000-mile radius. The fire spirits were trapped within the sea of demonic energy, making it clear that the devouring evil emperor intended to deal with them before heading toward the heavenly evil emperor. But that was enough. The fire spirit's objective was already achieved. Let's get to work. The flame of all living beings, now in the form of an elderly man, said calmly. The next moment, green flames surged from his body as he transformed back into his flame form and merged with the pure lotus demon flame. As the flame of all living beings fused with the pure lotus demon flame, the latter sat cross-legged in midair, its eyes slowly closing. Immediately, its fiery aura exploded, surging from the mid-stage 7th grade supreme to the late-stage 7th grade supreme. This was Xiao Yan's method of fusing heavenly flames. With us here, you're not going anywhere. The Golden Emperor's sky-burning flame sneered coldly at the devouring evil emperor before diving straight into the pure lotus demon flame. This instantly broke through the bottleneck of the 7th grade supreme, elevating its aura to the 8th grade supreme. So, you plan to shake us off and disrupt Master Xiao? Let me first enter the pure lotus and calm things down. The 3,000 burning flame took a deep breath, transformed into a fiery form, and entered the pure lotus demon flame. Its aura surged once again. Swish, swish, swish. In mere moments, a total of 15 fire spirits had fused with the pure lotus demon flame. At this point, the pure lotus demon flame's aura was no weaker than that of the devouring evil emperor, reaching the level of a quasi-9th grade supreme. Such power caused the devouring evil emperor to feel a deep sense of danger. Meanwhile, the desolate ruin flame and red lotus karma flame had yet to merge with the pure lotus demon flame. Sensing the dire situation, the devouring evil emperor unleashed all its demonic energy, transforming it into a devastating beam of magical light capable of obliterating a late-stage 8th grade supreme. It shot straight at the pure lotus demon flame, determined to prevent the final 2 fire spirits from merging with it. The terrifying magical light shattered a vast expanse of void as it closed in on the pure lotus demon flame. So, you're afraid now, the desolate ruin flame and red lotus karma flame sneered. They transformed into fiery forms and merged into the pure lotus demon flame. Boom! With the fusion of the final 2 flames, the pure lotus demon flame's aura shattered the bottleneck of the 8th grade supreme, ascending to a level capable of contending with the 9th grade supreme. The pure lotus demon flame's eyes suddenly opened, radiating a dazzling brilliance of 18 colors. As the terrifying magical light approached, it raised a palm. A scorching, terrifying finger extended and collided with the magical light. Bang! The clash of the 2 immense forces shattered the space within 10,000 feet. The pure lotus demon flame's finger pierced through the void, reducing the terrifying magical light to scattered fragments. From now on, I won't be playing around with you anymore. Amid the falling fragments of magical light, the pure lotus demon flame slowly stood up. It glanced at the devouring evil emperor opposite, and with a wave of its sleeve, a sea of fire surged forth, forcing back the surrounding demonic sea. Within a radius of 1,000 miles, the sea of fire claimed over 80% of the territory, leaving the demonic sea confined to less than 20%. The devouring evil emperor was clearly at a disadvantage. Boom. Yet, despite being on the back foot, the devouring evil emperor showed no intention of retreating. Behind it, two colossal wings of demonic energy stretched out, spanning thousands of feet. With a powerful flap, it shattered the space and charged at the pure lotus demon flame, leading an overwhelming wave of demonic energy. Impressive. The pure lotus demon flame sneered at the devouring evil emperor's fearless assault. Behind it, two enormous fire wings unfolded, shimmering with 9 hues interwoven into 18 colors. With a single flap, it soared across the vast sky, colliding with the incoming devouring evil emperor. Boom, boom, boom. The clash of their powers unleashed devastating shockwaves. One side was a brilliant sea of flames, the other, a sea of demonic energy. The overwhelming momentum reverberated across this entire spatial realm. As the fused fire spirits and the devouring evil emperor engaged in their climactic battle, in another location thousands of miles away, an equally vast sea of fire stretched endlessly. Above it, two figures hovered mid-air. One of them had an aura that was incredibly chaotic, with their robe charred and tattered. This was none other than the heavenly evil emperor, who had taken over the body of the ancient heavenly serpent. As expected, you don't want to destroy this body because of me. The heavenly evil emperor sneered coldly at Xiao Yan, his mocking voice resounding. Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed slightly. The reason he had yet to slay the heavenly evil emperor despite their prolonged battle wasn't due to a lack of power, but because the latter was using the body of the ancient heavenly serpent.